A very common complaint, whether in urgent care or in primary care, is anxiety. Now, it could be the primary concern for a patient, or it could be a secondary concern, or just a supporting concern for what they're actually there for. There's a lot of varieties of ways that it can be one of the complaints that a patient has. But for this brief video, I want to talk a little bit about anxiety. And just so that we have a working definition for what it is, anxiety is, according to Grall and Moley in their textbook of primary care medicine, it is the distressing experience of dread, foreboding, or panic, accompanied by a variety of autonomic, primarily sympathetic, bodily symptoms. And those bodily symptoms that they're talking about, just to list some, would be an increased heart rate or palpitations. Could be rapid breathing, shortness of breath, sweating, trembling. You all get the idea. You know, maybe many of you have experienced these things, or you at least know what I'm talking about. So this is anxiety. And now, as I've said, it could be the result of another cause. So this person could have a physiologic issue, or they could have an acute stressor, an acute social stressor that's leading to these symptoms of anxiety. And those things are very important to rule out. So whether it's a physiologic stressor, meaning maybe their thyroid's hyperactive, maybe their blood sugar's swinging abnormally, maybe they have an arrhythmia in their heart like AFib, or maybe they're having an asthma attack. Those things all can lead to the symptom of anxiety. But what exactly is it that causes somebody to have anxiety when there is no known cause? They just, quote unquote, have anxiety. They're given this diagnosis of anxiety. So first, let's just for the sake of argument assume that we have ruled out all physiological causes and acute social causes. So we've checked endocrinology, we've checked cardiovascular, we've checked respiratory, neurologic, infectious, substance use. We've checked all of these things, and they are all negative. So we've done a comprehensive assessment. There's no physiologic problem with this person, and yet they still have this symptom of anxiety. So then we ask them if there's anything going on in their life. Are they getting a new job? Did they just lose their job? Are they trying to sell their house? Are they moving? Are they starting college? Is it a new change in life? Are they going to be getting married? Like what is there anything like that that's going on? And then we find out, no, there's nothing like that. I've been doing my normal job. I'm married. I have kids, or whatever the case may be. And nothing has changed. And I've never had these symptoms before, but all of a sudden I'm now having these symptoms. What in the world is going on here? And how should we think about this? And how should we treat this? Those are the questions that I want to talk through with you today. So usually if somebody's coming into my office and they're telling me that they have this symptom, we're going to want to rule out all that stuff. So we're going to go through all of everything that I just mentioned systematically to make sure that there isn't anything else that could be causing these symptoms for this patient. And so once we've ruled all that stuff out, and at the same time, so we're going to be doing all this at the same time, I'm going to be going through the pillars of human health with this person. And what are the pillars of human health? Well, first I'm going to be addressing sleep. That is what I address first generally. Because for most people, sleep is actually something we take for granted, we don't think about, and it is really a cause of a lot of ills. And more often than not, if somebody has anxiety, then generally speaking, they're not getting enough sleep. The next thing is exercise. Are they getting outside? Are they walking? Are they moving? And more often than not, if somebody is experiencing anxiety with no other known cause, their exercising, their working is not present as much as it should be. And usually the exercise and the rest go together. So if you are working yourself to the point of where you need to go to bed, you are actually tired, generally your sleep is going to be a lot easier to maintain. If you have more of a sedentary lifestyle and you're not getting yourself up and moving, and particularly if you are drinking a lot of caffeine, then this is not going to help you get to bed at a decent time and get good rest whenever you do sleep. So exercise/work, and then sleep/rest. These are the first two things that I address. The next thing would be nutrition and diet. What are you generally eating? Are you eating a lot of refined sugar? Are you eating things that are processed? And we could talk about all the fad diets and stuff like that. I don't want to get bogged down with the details on that. But I am very much in favor of thinking about the things that we're eating, and generally focusing on a well-rounded diet that's high in protein. And if you're trying to lose weight, you have to have that caloric deficit. So you have to know what your body generally needs based upon your activity level and your BMI, and then you have to get under that number. It's just purely thermodynamics. If you're putting too much energy in, your body's going to store that energy, and then you're going to start putting on weight. If you don't put as much energy in, your body's going to have to metabolize the energy stores you have, and you will lose weight. And that's just purely math. But if you're not eating a good nutrient-based diet, and your body's then short on nutrients that it needs to generally function, then this can lead to all kinds of symptoms. If you're low on sodium, then that can lead to heart issues. If you're low on potassium, this can lead to heart issues. If you're dehydrated, it's going to lead to a lot of physiologic issues. So why do we assume that this symptom of anxiety is any different? The brain is an organ just like any other organ in the body. If you're not feeding it well, it's not going to function well, just like anything else. So how's your sleep? How's your exercise? How's your diet? So, and lastly, relationships. And I put in this bucket your spiritual health, as well as your relationships to other human beings. If you're married, your spouse, your children, your community, your broader community, your pastor. How are your relationships with these people? Are these sources of stress for you, or are they sources of rejuvenation? Are you spending time with these people? Are they supporting you? Are they loving you? Are they caring for you and about you? And is this then a cause of stress? Or maybe these things are absent, and that could be a cause of stress. Or are these things that you find helpful? They're helpful for your spirit. They're helpful for your well-being. They also help ease your mind because you know you have that social safety net if the worst happens. There's a bad car accident. There's a death. There's a grave illness. There's so many things that can happen to us as human beings, and having people around us that love and care about us is a huge factor for these things. So those are all of the bases that we would want to cover when we're dealing with anxiety. And just as I was going through those, I want you to think about that. For sleeping, how is your sleep? How is your exercise? How is your nutrition and your diet? How are your social support groups? How are your relationships? If these things are not going well for you, then I can pretty much guarantee you that you're going to be anxious to some degree.